Hey. Hi, my name is Anna. Welcome back, everyone. I don't know why I did that, but welcome back to my channel, everyone. My name is Anna, if you guys are new here. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, if you are new here, and that was an absolutely horrible intro. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna, if you are new here, and today I want to dive into my autistic journey on when I learned and figured out I was autistic and kind of like what brought me to the point of seeking a diagnosis and where I'm at now with it and how do I feel with it. So let's just sit back, grab a fidget toy if you need it. Feel free to rock and just like listen and tell me what your stories are and where you guys are at with it. Right now, I have my door open right here to let some cool air in, just to not feel so anxious filming this. But yeah, let's jump into it. So growing up, I've always been a little bit of the odd one out and always been kind of where I would speak when I shouldn't. I would overly interrupt to the point where you would think you would know better about overly interrupting, and I'd always have to get don't interrupt, don't interrupt, don't interrupt. And you would think by the time you were 9, 10, maybe older than that, you would understand you probably shouldn't be interrupting and shouldn't be in a space where you just keep talking, keep yapping. And I've always been one who talks a little bit too much, and that's been one of my things. Now I'm kind of the exact opposite, where I don't really like to talk at all. But that is one thing I could really say. If I would have known what I know now at a young age, I would have been yeah, that's a little odd. I remember stories of me hanging out with friends at young ages, maybe being anywhere from 6 to 8, and actually hurting their feelings and genuinely not understanding why. And I'd be but it was the truth. And keep in mind, some of the things that I would say as a little kid, you shouldn't have said. You shouldn't have said. And it's goes back to that you should have known better, or you feel you would have known better when you kind of look around at it now. And then you're just okay, but I was a kid. And obviously, once again, knowing what I know now, it should have been a major sign, just a major sign of having autism or something going on. So, because that happened to me a lot of the times, I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I had one consistent friend who I had from first grade to now. We're still friends now. And then she was the only one who kind of stayed around from a young age. I didn't scare her off, which is actually really great. And then I met friends on and off, but I did not socialize well. And as much as I tried so hard to make friends, fit in, try to like be like everybody else. It never worked for me. So at one point my mom did switch me to like homeschool after being in Christian school for a while. And homeschool is like really when things like became like more noticeable. And I mean, besides like when I was a kid, I had really strict eating at certain points. So like my mom would tell me that I ate a lot more when I was a little kid, but then she would say all you would eat was like bean and cheese burritos or a hamburger. So I guess I was more open to trying new things. But then it was like, but then I mostly wanted a hamburger. I mostly wanted a bean and cheese burrito. And those became like my safe foods. Well, I don't even really know until like now what a safe food is. But those were like my go-to safe foods. But my mom used to say like I would try more out now, like then than I do now. So I do find that actually kind of like very interesting of the progression of the journey. So I always had issues from like when I was a kid with like loud noises and things like that. Like I actually have a picture that I could put towards like maybe either like right here where my mom and I are like downtown, I think on Fremont Street, and my ears, I have like my hands over my ears like this, and I'm just like looking at the camera and I'm just like, this is loud. But obviously I wanted to go because I genuinely liked going downtown with my mom and getting to be around my dad singing and things like that. So it was kind of cool. But I also grew up in a very like, I would say very noisy situation because my dad's a singer. And I grew up around music, and that's actually a really fun story about, I can tell you guys that story on another time. But I grew up with theater music and everything, so I think that is really when I learned how to appropriately mask and how to be around people. I feel like because I was around actors and theater and just like genuinely really good people, that I kind of like, well, this is what you do. This is not what you do. So I think I picked it up based on my surroundings, because the school I went to in Vegas, it was, your teachers used to come to your house every week when you were like in grammar school. And then once you switched to middle school and high school, you'd go to campus once a week. So once you would switch to campus, like you would get to see your friends, you had PE. Well, keep in mind, I've always had really, like, I didn't have a lot of friends. I've always been the odd one out. So I met really cool people at the time. And so I thought I had like really good friends and stuff, which I'm pretty sure I did. But, you know, you kind of like go through your high school years and you're like your middle school years and you're like, huh, like why did I attract that? Or like, why did I be friends with somebody, you know? But I rarely do that. Oh my God, I got something in my eye. Sorry. I met some like really good people at the time and everything. So it was really cool. So fast forward, I tried to go to public school for a year. 8th grade year, worst year in my life. I genuinely hated 8th grade year going to a public school with absolutely everything in me. I was bullied really bad by students, always calling me names like fat ass moo, and would tell me like how stinky my breath is, which I really, once again, I genuinely realize now how many more signs were there than I would have recognized, because I wasn't looking for something being like wrong or me being like that different to be like, oh yeah, this makes sense, this is something like this. No, I was so oblivious in my own little world trying to like navigate. But no, I was told my breath stank all the time and I needed a mints, so I always had gum or mints in my bag all times, just to make sure like my breath always smelled good so I wouldn't get teased. Just like that became my staple through high school, that I genuinely just was always trying to make sure that I wouldn't get teased about that. So when I went, like I moved out of the house in 8th grade year, like when it finished and I graduated 8th grade, middle school, I moved into my grandma's house, re-enrolled myself back into the school I went before. And keep in mind, I wanted a different experience because I thought, well, maybe life would be different if I go to like a public school and get to like experience it and try it out, because we lived in a smaller town up like by the Hoover Dam in Las Vegas. Probably wouldn't do that again, but the people were nice. Now that I've talked to some of them, they're very nice, but teenagers, just teenagers is all I gotta say. But I moved back into the house and I got an IEP, and I think I got an IEP in middle school or grammar school. I don't really remember. So I just thought the IEP was like to help me. And now I know a little bit more about the whole idea of an IEP. So I'm like, okay, it makes more sense once again now. But I did pretty good in school. My mom has said to me before that when I was in grammar school that I had a hard time reading. And I don't remember this. Like, I genuinely don't remember having a hard time reading, but I do remember reading a lot of magazines. Like, my special interest was all those teenage magazines, Teen Vogue and things like that. Like, if you remember the ones that had like Zac Efron's face on it, or Ashley Tisdale, and all those magazines. Like, I remember reading those and being so like intrigued and so like, oh my god, I love these. And so I would read those for hours. Like, my mom would buy me so many of those, and she actually told me that is how she got me to read. And that's how I started. Like, I love books now, and I started to love books. So I used to like listen to music and read all the time. So it makes sense now, but before I was like, I don't remember that, but okay. So that was something that I not recently, but I learned as like a few years back. But I thought I did pretty good in school. I did graduate, but in Las Vegas at the time in Clark County, which is where I went, if you didn't pass your proficiencies, you would not graduate high school. Well, because I went to a specific school and I had an IEP, I graduated with what would be called a secondary diploma there, which just basically meant you graduated, you had good grades, but you just didn't pass your proficiencies, which now being in California, that meant nothing. Like, once I moved to here, California, that whole secondary diploma thing literally meant nothing when I was looking at going to colleges here. So I was like, oh, okay. So fast forward several years, we did a lot of theater and I absolutely loved it. I found myself in a lot of fixations. Like, oh my god, how many fixations did I go through? And that I still have. So I had this big orange and pink phase where everything was orange and pink, and then it was hippie and it was like tie-dye, and I wish I could find pictures of that. I'll try to see if I can find the pictures of like the rooms I can put on the screen after that. I had a hot pink room at one point. Everything I had to be hot pink, even like down to like the clothes I wore. That was an interesting time. I went through a camo phase. Like, everything I wore in my wardrobe had to be camo. And you know, some of these I'm putting towards just being a teenager and just learning what you like. But to the extent of some of them, it would be more of like a fixation than just something you like. Like, okay, I said like so many times. I need to think of another word. But Paris. So I had a huge affinity for France. It was everything. I was going to move there. I was going to speak, I was learning French. I was going to teach my little kids that I don't even have French. I had an Eiffel Tower in my room. Like I said, if I could find pictures, I would show you guys pictures. I need to look to see if I have pictures of this, but I had an Eiffel Tower in my room. My bed sheets were Paris. Everything was Paris, down to like the art on my wall, my screensavers on my phone. Everything was Paris, down to the music I listened to. Every single thing was Paris. Everything. Every little thing. So that I would say is a fixation to the fact that every single thing I did, I lived, breathed, and wanted to eat French. But if I wasn't so like, I didn't have so many like sensory issues, I think I would have done that. But I have so many sensory issues, like, jeez. But okay, so there was that one too. And then I had an orange room, not an orange room, I had a yellow room. And then after that, I think I kind of like leveled out with that. Recently I had a blue room where I had a waterfall in my room. My whole room was blue. Every little thing about my room had to be blue. The vibe was calm. The vibe had to be calm. And if my room didn't feel calm, I couldn't be in it. And like, I used to have TVs in my room. Now I don't. Now I kind of want a TV again, but that's besides the point. But if it wasn't calm, I didn't want it. Not calm? Don't want. Not this? Don't want. So I feel like the more I kind of get to know, like, and look back, I'm just like, wow. Even down to, here's a story. When I lived in Vegas, I was a little kid. We used to go to the Mirage all the time. And they had the dolphin habitat and the tiger habitat. Because I love dolphins so much, I used to go there. There was a dolphin named Squirt that I would literally, God, my eye is acting up, sorry. That I would run over to like a certain point of like the pool area, and the dolphin would play with me, and the trainers would put a ball in the water, and we'd like do the ball back and forth. So I think I did that at least once or twice a week when I lived there when I was a little kid. And then I did the same thing with the second garden, the tigers. I was obsessed with the tigers. Like, if not friend shaped, it's if not friend, why friend shaped? Sorry, you gotta answer that to little Anna. I don't know what to say to that. If not friend, why friend shaped? So that was another thing. Okay, if we go back to the past, I know I'm all over the place. So sorry. I hope you guys can keep up with me. If we go back to the past, besides the dolphins and the tigers, there was an owl obsession, which is why my thumbnail is me with the baby owl, with like one of those owls that you put outside your house to keep away the pigeons. Yes, I used to call them towels because I could not pronounce owl. So there was that. And then there was obviously the Eiffel Tower. Then there was a llama phase. I freaking loved llamas for a good while. I love bats. Bats are my thing. I love bats so much. And then I love Halloween still. So currently right now it's about Halloween and everything. You know, I haven't even gotten to the part of where I figured out I was autistic. I'm just like literally jumping all over the place of like the backstory, and I am so sorry. So we're gonna actually like fast forward to why we're making this story in the first place. So about 6 years ago, I moved here to the area I'm at now, and I was doing readings and everything, and I got really burnt out about that. And let's like, if we're being completely honest, I just came out of like that 6 years ago severe trauma from like family dying and everything, and I just kind of like was in a really bad space of burnout. And I was at a Starbucks when we lived in Reno for a bit, and I had like the weirdest out of body experience. I just like was sitting down there, my body like went several different like coldnesses, and I was like, okay, like what the heck, I haven't felt this since I had a really bad anxiety attack last time. So I got up trying to walk around. I felt like I was gonna fall. So I sat back down, and then I started panicking, and then I have like this trigger laugh. I have like I have a tick laugh, which you guys are probably seeing a lot of them right now. I tend to like itch my head as a tick. That's a newer one, but I just started doing that, and it was been a while since that tick has actually come out and everything. So after that, I literally lived in a constant state of anxiety 24/7. And then it like went away for a while, and then it came back, and then I had to like learn to live with it again. So for like the first 2 to 3 years of moving here, I did pretty good with like readings and everything. But then at one point I literally hit another burnout, and I couldn't do anything. I wasn't able to really like make money, and I was trying, and I was getting really frustrated because I knew I needed to do more, but I couldn't do it. And my mom's friend for a while has been saying since for like a long time that she was pretty sure I needed to just go talk to someone, and I probably needed just to like get tested, just to see like what's going on. And I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just anxious. There's so nothing wrong with me. I am just anxious. It's like what I want to do. Well, obviously, yeah, some people need to get some medication or something. If you're anxious, there doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means you need a little extra help, which is totally fine. But I wish I would have known that then. But I was scrolling TikTok, and if I can find the video, I will put it here. This girl was saying she had autism, and I was like, okay, let me learn more about this. So I was looking at it, listening. I was just like, oh, this is so interesting. And then I was like, at one point I was like, I think I'm autistic, is what I said. So I downloaded everything she had, took all the quizzes. I actually have a notebook, a binder of like everything I did. So if you guys want to see that in another video, I will show you guys that. I'm hoping to find her video so I can put it here, over here, so you guys can like see it. But I did the video, and I downloaded everything, and I started taking all the quizzes, and everything was like flying colors of that. This was like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. This explains so freaking much of my life, and I don't know why I was so scared. So while I was trying to learn more about it, I think it was about a year, I went under self-diagnosis of autism. And it's because I wasn't really sure how I was gonna go about the actual diagnosis. I knew I was trying to figure out if I felt this way and if I actually thought it was me, because I felt like I didn't want to make a bad name for a community just because I was feeling like I was autistic and I self-diagnosed myself, and the more research I did, I learned that a lot of people who go in to an autism evaluation leave with the autism diagnosis if they go in self-diagnosed, which is not like always true, but most of the time it is very true. So I eventually made an appointment and I went into it and I was so nervous. So I took my binder. I went in with my sparkling purple binder and I here, this is everything I've done myself, and everything says that I'm autistic and I feel like I am. So let's get this on the road. And I literally cried before because I was so nervous, and I had both my parents with me. So I just remember I was doing it, answering the questions. I was talking about my K-pop, that I'm so everything in my life is K-pop. And I remember talking and rocking and getting obsessed with the bug stuff and some of the rocks she had, and trying to figure out a story that was in this storybook that I had to create. And I was just I don't know how to really do the story. But it was kind of interesting because when I left, she was like, yeah, you're autistic. You make inappropriate laughter at certain times. You didn't fully catch the jokes, or while we were laughing, you would laugh later. I'm like, ha. I was like, oh. And it really that's what I was doing. So yeah, I left with the diagnosis, and it's been pretty life-changing. My biggest thing is learning how to unmask. So I've been seeing a therapist. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get to a space where I feel comfortable. And I feel that's one of my biggest and my hardest things about making a YouTube video. Most of my videos before this one going up is all with me just in the store and filming all the pretty things, or you see the vlogs before and you're only seeing little snippets of how I am and little snippets of what I do, and you're not seeing the breakdowns, when I just can't do it and I'm sitting in a car, which I'm hoping to actually put some of those clips that I have taken and some of the videos I took for Instagram and stuff in here that you guys kind of watch as well. Now you can see my Twitch is acting up. But I want to be more transparent and share more and show more with you guys. And I want to tell you guys more about my story and how I'm figuring things out, because I have so many people I look up to that I found on TikTok to help me with my diagnosis, and I thank them so much that they've just given me a space to where I'm oh my god, I feel understood and I feel heard. So I'm hoping to be someone else's safe space, to help people to feel they can talk and that they aren't alone. So hi, I'm Anna. I have ADHD. I also have CPTSD. I don't really have anything else. I mean, I was diagnosed at one point with a panic disorder. Then it went down to GAD. So I don't really know which one it is now, but I guess that's all part of the autism as well. So yeah, I'm just learning to navigate through this life. This is my second year post-diagnosis, and I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. All I know is that I'm here. I'm trying to advocate more for the community, tell my story, and be another YouTuber where you guys can feel like you have someone that understands. So you guys will start seeing a lot of different things from me. And if this made sense, can you guys leave a flower emoji in the comments for me? And please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.